We need more flags. President Donald Trump says we need more flags at the White House, but not just any flags. Great, big, huge, amazing, beautiful American flags. Not one, but two. And Donald Trump is going to pay for them.
We're putting up a beautiful, almost 100-foot tall American flag on this side and another one on the other side. Two flags, top of the line. And they've needed flagpoles for 200 years. It was something I've often said, they don't have a flagpole per se. So we're putting one right where you saw us, and we're putting another one on the other side on top of the mounds. It's going to be two beautiful poles.
Mr. President on China? President Trump on China?
Paid for by Trump.
Mr. President.
That's President Donald Trump with a gaggle of reporters at the White House yesterday who were exhausted because they were chasing him around. He did an impromptu press briefing on the opposite side of the White House where the press were. It was fun to watch them running around the White House trying to get a question for President Donald Trump. And he spoke about the big, beautiful 100-foot flags that he's building, because that's what Donald Trump does. He fixes the economy. He secures the border. He looks around and goes, you know what this place needs? More flags. Why don't, for 200 years we've needed them, and now we're going to get them. And Donald Trump is gifting them to the United States of America, paid for by Trump. Donald Trump also, when he wasn't just redecorating and doing some landscaping and talking to reporters, met in the Oval Office with a very important group of people, veterans, disabled veterans. And President Donald Trump, while he was speaking to them, he let them know just how important they were to him and to all of us here in the United States of America.
There's no group of people more important than the people in this room. And I'm not talking about the media. I'm talking about these people right here. There's no group, and they're going to be taken really well care of. It's very important to me.
And President Donald Trump, while he was there with the veterans, noticed that one of them had an interesting photo or an interesting sticker on one of his limbs, one of his artificial limbs that he'd, I guess, got from the VA hospital after returning injured from battle. And President Donald Trump pointed it out.
Who's that picture on there?
That is Joe Biden, and it says, "Let's go, Brandon."
I'm saying, what was that picture?
I told him he wasn't allowed to ask you to sign
it. maybe cross it out or draw some, a little mustache and maybe some devil horns on it. But it was a very special moment as President Donald Trump met with the veterans in the Oval Office and truly thanked them for their service and their sacrifice and their families, and gave them all a very special gift.
Mr. President, we're very happy with the energy that this administration is bringing, and it's an administration that does what it promises, and so we're behind you. We believe in you, and I think we all love you. We're going to speak for everyone.
Thank you very much, and I'm going to get you a better hat. Say a better hat. That's a good one. That was the original.
It was.
That means he was there.
I've been wearing it before it was cool.
That's right. That's an early one. We'll save that one though, right?
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anybody, please?
I'd like to say.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say thank you for loving America, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Very nice. Thank you very much. True. Thank you.
Sir Bennett just spoke, saved Michael Broderick's life. And of course, he goes immediately to say thank you, as he was the one that saved Michael Broderick, put him on the helicopter, and got him off the combat zone.
Wow.
So,
right
selflessness of these men is unspeakable.
Thank you.
That's great. See you.
Yeah, he's alive because of that man right here.
As you can tell, it was a truly incredible moment. And then President Donald Trump honored these gentlemen by sharing challenge coins with them. However, Donald Trump's challenge coins, and I've seen one, my good friend Congressman Aaron Bean has one. They're not your typical challenge coin. They're about 4 or 5 times the size and about 4 or 5 times the weight as well. But that's what you would expect from President Donald Trump. You would expect him to have the largest challenge coin there is. You would not expect him to have anything other than that. It wasn't just a meeting of the veterans, though. There was some important business to be taken care of. And President Donald Trump, along with his advisor, Will Scharf, who I would like to give a personal shout out to, because Will Scharf, who is a lawyer and attorney in the White House and also the personal assistant to the President of the United States, he's the man that you hear handing the executive orders to President Donald Trump. He always brings in the executive orders. He summarizes them very well, very thorough, very easy to explain. summaries of these executive orders. And this guy, since day one, has been right along Donald Trump's side while he's signing each and every one of these orders for whatever action it happens to be. He's basically narrating history and witnessing history live, and he does a fantastic job with it too. But Will Scharf was there, and he was handing Donald Trump just a bevy of executive orders, mostly on education and our educations of higher learning, which mostly have been educations of woke learning. But Donald Trump is aiming to fix all of that with these new orders.
The first executive order we have prepared for your attention, there are currently laws on the books requiring certain disclosures of universities when they accept large foreign gifts. We believe that certain universities, including, for example, Harvard, have routinely violated this law, and this law has not been effectively enforced. So this executive order charges your departments and agencies with enforcing the laws on the books with respect to foreign gifts to American universities.
Okay, thank you.
And he holds it up there for everybody to see. This is an interesting one because this is not just an executive order that's changing anything. It's basically saying you've got to now uphold the law. President Donald Trump's executive order in this particular instance says, look, the law is on the books. Nobody's enforcing it. Harvard's getting millions, maybe even billions of dollars from foreign interests. We don't even know about it. It's your job, government of the United States of America, to keep track of that kind of thing. And that was one of the first things that they did. There was another important order about accreditation and who and how these institutes of higher learning are getting accredited.
Next for you, sir, university accreditation is currently a process controlled by a number of third-party organizations. That's by statute, by law. Many of those third-party accreditors have relied on sort of woke ideology to accredit universities instead of accrediting based on merit and performance. This executive order affects a number of changes to the university accreditation process, also applies to law schools and other sort of graduate programs. But the basic idea is to force accreditation to be focused on the merit and the actual results that these universities are providing, as opposed to how woke these universities have gotten. So we're setting up new accreditation pathways. We're charging the Department of Education to really look holistically at this accreditation mess and hopefully make it much better.
Look at that. We want to make sure that these institutes of higher learning that are getting accredited by the United States government, we want to make sure that they're actually institutes of higher learning. We want to make sure that people are going there and learning things and not bad things like DE&I practices or any woke policies. We want them to learn things that are going to benefit the United States of America. We want our college graduates to be the most highly trained, most intelligent, most well-prepared for an ever-changing marketplace. And what's going on with these institutions is their accreditation has been sailing through. There have been no real checks and balances, and the let's just say the level or the quality of education is no longer up to the standard that you would think that these organizations would imply. For example, if an Ivy League school is an Ivy League school, you expect graduates to be at a certain level, but that's not always happening because they have taken their eye off the ball and put it on, well, the DE&I and the woke initiatives that they've been harnessing for years now. Speaking of higher education and being the best trained, there was another executive order about artificial intelligence education.
This next executive order relates to artificial intelligence education, sir. You've obviously done a lot in the artificial intelligence space already. The basic idea of this executive order is to ensure that we properly train the workforce of the future by ensuring that school children, young Americans are adequately trained in AI tools so that they can be competitive in the economy years from now into the future as AI becomes a bigger and bigger deal.
That's a big deal because AI is where it seems to be at. We have literally trillions of dollars being invested in AI. And somebody today, a very smart person, said that AI is the way to the future. I don't know if that's right or not, but certainly very smart people are investing in it heavily.
And they're investing here in the United States of America. And we want to make sure that when we build those AI technological centers, when we have these billions of dollars coming in from these foreign investors, when they're building all of these computer centers, we want to make sure that we're hiring Americans and American graduates. And that's why AI education is so important. And that's why Donald Trump is signing these executive orders. There was another executive order for HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, which you may remember during his first term, President Donald Trump funded for a decade, more than any other president before him, more than Joe Biden, more than Barack Obama even. President Donald Trump has always been the biggest fan of and the largest supporter of historically black colleges and universities in the White House, and that continued with another executive order that he signed yesterday.
Sir, during your first administration, you made promoting historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, a major priority. This executive order takes existing law on HBCUs and brings it into effect. We're going to be setting up a White House initiative on HBCUs. The basic idea here is making sure that every aspect of your administration is working to ensure that HBCUs are able to do their job as effectively and as efficiently as possible.
And he holds it up to the camera. I don't know if the microphone is just placed in a good spot or if Donald Trump just writes very loudly, but I love listening to the signature of the marker on the executive order. It really adds to the whole. It really adds to the whole moment. President Donald Trump. He wasn't even done then. There was one more. Well, there were a couple more. There was one about school discipline. There was one about disparate impact theory, which again is a very important. And each and every one of these are a building block on revamping our education system so that we're focused on, wouldn't you know it, education. And each one of these is a building block to make sure that our institutes of higher learning, whether they're state-run organizations or universities, or whether they're privately held and operated universities. I mean, most universities, even if they're privately held, get some kind of government funding. And we've all learned that with the $2 billion that President Donald Trump is now withholding from Harvard and the billions he's withholding from Columbia and other universities as well, because of their woke initiatives and their DEI policies. But these are all building blocks to try to root out all of that and rebuild the greatest education system in the entire world.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order on disparate impact theory. This is a theory that underlies a lot of the modern DEI and CRT-driven diversity culture. The basic idea here is instructing your departments and agencies to no longer rely on disparate impact theory as they're regulating, as they're issuing guidance, as they're making rules. We want to focus on results. We want to focus on actual fairness. We want to focus on merit, not things like disparate impact theory and the whole sort of diversity, equity, and inclusion cult.
It's getting out of that, huh?
Yes, sir.
After being in that jungle for a long time.
And now we're clearing ourselves out. It was a monumental day. It was a very exciting day. A lot was done, not just for the veterans, not just for students and education, but also for tariffs. There was a lot of tariff talk, and President Donald Trump was asked a bunch of questions about tariffs, not just on China, but on Canada. What was the plan moving forward? Was he going to review some of the tariffs? There were questions about the auto industry. There were questions about reciprocal tariffs on other countries. Donald Trump said, look, we want America to be the stronghold. We want America to be the center of all of our manufacturing. We want to make sure that our stuff is made here by us. And that way we have total control over it. And it becomes not just an economic issue, but also an issue of national defense. Canada, for example, we don't actually want them making our cars. So if these tariffs bring auto manufacturing back to the United States of America, that's another bonus.
Again, we don't really want Canada to make cars for us. To put it bluntly, we want to make our own cars, and we're now equipped to do that. They took a lot of our car business. Mexico, too, took a lot of our car business. We want to make the cars here. I'm running this country. I'm not running Canada. And that's why I asked Trudeau, who I call Governor Trudeau affectionately, I asked him, why are we spending $200 billion to support Canada, to subsidize Canada? And he was unable to answer the question. I mean, why are we doing that? And I have to be honest, as a state, it works great. As a nation, considering the fact that most of the nation. 95% of Canada, what they do is they buy from us, and they sell to us. If we didn't buy their oil, and we don't need their oil. We have more oil than anyone, but we don't need their oil. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their cars. We don't need anything. So I said, why are we doing this? Why are we spending $200 billion? It doesn't make sense. If we needed something, that would be a different subject. So I'm working well with Canada. We're doing very well. We're working on a deal. We'll see what happens. But again, why, representing this country, why are we spending $200 billion to support and subsidize another country?
It doesn't make any sense, and Donald Trump's going to put an end to it. And it's not just Canada, it's also China. He was asked, are you on the phone with China? President Donald Trump, sometimes, he wants to look at these reporters and say, what do you think we do around here?
Mr. President, has there been any direct contact between the U.S. and China on trade at all?
Yeah, of course.
And
every day.
He's like, every day. What do you think I'm doing here? You think I'm just here for photo ops to hand out hats and sign these executive orders? No, we're on the phone with China every single day. We are making deals with China. We want China to be a trade partner. We understand the value of China as a trade partner, but they need to understand the value of the United States as a trade partner, and they do not yet do that.
I wanted to ask you, Mr. President, because you said you want to bring the tariffs on China down soon. How soon do you want to bring the tariffs on Chinese goods down?
Well, it depends on them. We have a situation where we have a very, very great place. It's called the United States of America, and it's been ripped off for years and years. These people know it. We talked about it before you came in. We've been ripped off by every country in the world practically, and friend and foe. And we're not doing that anymore. So what's happened is Howard, how many countries have we spoken to already? 90. And they all want to make deals, and we're going to.
They all want to make deals. In fact, that's true. Some of them are already making deals. Kevin Hassett, who's one of Donald Trump's number one trade advisors, was talking to Jameson Greer, and he was with Brian Kilmeade on Fox News. He said, "Look, we've got deals in place, and these deals they're going faster than anyone ever thought possible."
I could tell you that Jameson Greer, I just got off the phone, Brian, to make sure that you had the latest information right before I got on the air, and he tells me that he's already scheduled 14 meetings this week with foreign trade ministers, and we have 18 written offers from foreign trade ministers already this week. And so the fact is that this could happen fast. It's not going to happen the way it does in previous administrations. It's going to happen in Trump time. And the fact that we've made so much progress is a reflection of the fact that Jameson Greer and Howard Lutnick and the top trade team, including Peter Navarro, have been working on these deals really since the 20th of January. And so we've got a lot of progress to report, and it's not rushed deals. It's carefully thought out deals in anticipation of the actions that the president took.
Look at that. He's got 14 calls this week scheduled. He's got other deals already on the table. People are writing up offers. They want to make sure that they're doing business with the United States of America, and they don't want tariffs to get in the way of that. So Donald Trump's plan is working. And if everyone else would just calm down and stick to it, it'll be fine. In fact, Donald Trump has meetings. Get this. He's got meetings lined up at the Pope's funeral. He's got meetings. They're going to go. They're going to pay their best wishes to Pope Francis, and then they're going to duck into a back room somewhere at the Vatican and hammer out some more trade deals.
On your trip to Rome, there's a lot of leaders attending the Pope's funeral who also said they'd like to meet with you while you're there. Do you have any meetings set up?
Yes, I do. I have a lot of meetings set up. I don't know if I can do it. Do you want to help me out, fellas? I got a lot of meetings. I got every leader in the world, which tells you that we have a good product. It's called the United States of America, and it's great. And these people know about it better than anybody in this room. But we have a great place, and it should be a lot greater. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it greater than ever before. It's very simple.
President Donald Trump meeting with veterans, signing executive orders on education, talking tariffs, talking tough about China and the rest of the world, and purchasing new American flags for the White House. Pretty solid day. Pretty solid day in the life of the president. And there's more to come, of course, because President Donald Trump, he doesn't rest. He won't rest for at least the next 4 years, and neither will we. We will be here every single day to bring you the news straight from the White House to my mouth to your ears for the next 4 years. And later on today, our second daily podcast, Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, our long form, intensive discussion podcast. We have interviews and news and other things that we cover, all the other news, not just from the White House, but from all over the world. And if you have not yet subscribed or listened, it's really easy to do. Go to your favorite podcast platform, search Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, download, listen, and enjoy.